That's it. We're done. Was it decades of warfare? Maybe sentient programming? Maybe. It could have been any of the many different ways we end ourselves. Maybe it's the way that we're still working on, yet to finish, or it doesn't happen. I'm sure you've thought about it, and I'm sure you've engaged in lengthy discussion, exploration, and fantasy within many of these worlds. I know I have. But without someone to experience them, they don't exist. You, the observer, whether consciously or unconsciously, create a world with your perception. Whether reality itself exists with or without you is a matter of, well, a different debate. For our purposes here, I won't really make a set determination on that. But there is a variety in our perception.
Remember your jargon?
Much of the electromagnetic wave spectrum is invisible to us. But different animals can perceive different frequencies of those electromagnetic waves after all. Well, they even see differently with a different perception themselves. Within our ability to perceive lies a close relationship with the ability to create. Creating a representation of what we've seen inside our heads and being able to move and manipulate our environment with reference to it. Us humans can go even a step further and manipulate these representations. You see a drop of water falling into a filled bucket, and there are so many ways to represent it. You see a drop of water falling into a filled bucket, and there are so many ways to represent it. Beautiful artistic representations, be it a drawing, painting, or even animation. Or even documenting it with an equation, comprehensively describing its behavior, and even being able to decide which parts of the representation we want to ignore. Should we ignore the wind influence on this water drop? Maybe we can ignore gravity. This keeps going on and on with increasing complexity, and I'm sure you can involve the entire freaking standard model of physics, which is a description of the world with mathematical equations, in it. And we do it like it's second nature. The sky's colors, how the ground feels, the smell around us, as well as all the emotions we feel in many different circumstances. Those are worlds we create in our minds. Every single time we perceive, we create a world in our minds. And those are the worlds that die with us. It is in the manner of a creation to hold an identity born from the essence of its creator. Representations of our world do not just serve as an essential requirement for our activity within the world. Manipulation and or sharing them is compulsive, especially amongst us humans. Every one of us wants to create or leave something behind, something that affirms our existence, challenging it, that we are here, that we do exist, that our existence means something. A material representation is interpreted and built as a different world from the creator's mind, something real that sparks the construction of other worlds within the countless other observers who choose or not choose to experience them. Every perception layered with biological variety, different brains with different wiring that produce different emotional responses, as well as senses that diverge slightly from each other, exploding into countless creative worlds that interact and collapse into each other. I've boiled down a fundamental purpose of life over my years of thinking about it. Now I say because I'm not the big all-knowing man in the sky. That purpose is to keep the keeping on. Life goes against the natural tendency toward disorder. Something you may have heard as entropy. Life forms these structures, biological worlds that break down into chemical worlds, bonds between the various molecules which themselves break down into the perplexing quantum world. This complex of worlds increase the complexity of the structure. More complex structures degrade less easily. They've been built with more energy in denser proportion, so more energy is needed to take them apart toward disorder. While disorder is an intrinsic property of matter, so is this building of order. There's probably something you've realized in the back of your head. The structures I've mentioned here, do they just apply here? Every other entity, be it the planets or stars, even if they're not as complex as the human brain or other animals, they're all grounded by the same fundamentals. And if any of them don't act and exist the way they do, nothing that resembles anything that happens in our universe can happen. Every observer in every layer creates worlds that stack and facilitate more observers within every other layer, expanding exponentially into this universe scale entity. And our human minds, the apex of this journey, capable of perceiving and manipulating these worlds, exploring even alternatives, laying the foundations toward the building of further physical worlds that could extend beyond our current universe. This video is titled "Our Worlds Don't Exist Without Us," but I think us here is pretty tough to border, right? After all, we're made of the same elements that make stars. And if you think hard enough, everything seems like one big complex entity. But nonetheless, our interpretations, our perceptions, and the worlds we create in our minds, within them lie observations and experience. Every element within every layer of everything experiences and creates their corresponding world. There may or may not be a world existing outside of them, and some, like the quantum world's elements, not being able to have perspectives. It's quite disastrous toward any existence of any other world. But it is reasonable to say that that interpreted world, that creation in that mind, that world, doesn't exist without its interpreter or observer, and consequently, yours doesn't exist without you. Thank you.